So hi guys, welcome back on my new reaction video. So ये जो reaction video है कियारा आडवाणी और रणवीर अलाहाबादिया के साथ जो podcast चल रहा था उस पर मैं reaction दे रही थी. ये part 2 क्योंकि एक ही episode में अगर सारे का सारा डाल देते हैं ना तो थोड़ा देखने में और बहुत ज़्यादा time taking है. So इतना time कोई नहीं बैठ के YouTube video देखता है. I know that. So और reaction video को 1.5 की speed पे नहीं लगा सकते हैं ताकि अच्छे से जल्दी से देख लो. So मैंने इसको दो पार्ट्स में किया है डिवाइड. लेट्स स्टार्ट.
Out of that genuine pool of men,
Yeah.
understand that men take very long to grow emotionally.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, and men start growing emotionally probably after 30, after 40.
Yeah.
And I've figured that through the podcast. Like a lot of the guys I've spoken to in their 20s don't know what's happening in their
For
heads.
sure. Very few of them are so.
Yeah. So to be able to date someone who is as emotional as an actor would be very challenging for a lot of younger guys.
Perhaps you're right. I feel, first though, I honestly feel there are many more options. I feel like there are more women than there are men. In the sense, if you put a male actor and a female actor and ask the same question, I feel for a man, he would probably have more options. I feel women are more genuine like that. And those things that you're saying would probably not be, such concerns. Whereas for a female actor, or for women in general, I feel your options are more limited. I don't think it's because there's any expectation list or any of that shit. That doesn't work. It's never been, it's how you vibe with the person. It's how you connect.
What do you
There
look
are
for?
no criterias as that.
What's your criteria?
I have none. I genuinely have no criterias. I mean, if I have to look back at whichever relationships I've been in or whoever I've dated, I don't think there's a box that anyone fits into. So I don't see, it's not like so-and-so has to be duck, none of that rubbish. It's just the way someone makes you feel.
Okay. Yes.
And it doesn't have to be big gestures. It can be the smallest thing like, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm at work. But just like, rather than people who just like take you for granted. I don't like that. That's not my, I don't.
You want to feel like a queen?
No, I don't want to feel like a queen. I just feel like when two people are together, I feel they should make each other feel
Comfortable.
that they are important in each other's life. It doesn't have to mean putting someone on a pedestal, making them feel like a queen. No. In fact, that would put me off completely. I don't want someone who's going to be like, oh my God, no way. Like, don't even think about it. Like, a very normal person.
That's a note for all the Sindhi boys out there watching
I
this.
just made that expression. That's so disgusting. Anyway, I don't want like a little...
No.
You
I
just
get
want
it.
someone who's on... Like, see, two equals, yeah, sometimes one has to be, it's like a seesaw. Sometimes you have to pour more, sometimes he has to pour more, like that. But more importantly, it's important to make the other person feel seen, heard, and understood. And both ways. Even I need to, even the other person needs
That's
to.
what I meant by queen. As in, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, okay.
My queen. It's like maybe
Rani
you want that
Padar.
king and queen relationship, but mutual respect.
Mutual
etc.
respect, mutual understanding. It's respect and understanding and communication is so important in a relationship.
Okay, I love that you're a psychologist, which is why I'm going to bring that back in.
Yeah.
What are women's expectations in a relationship? I know you can't generalize and everyone has, a different mind. But according to you and all your female friends that you've spoken to about these things, what should men know about dating women? Like, how do we be better boyfriends or husbands?
I think,
Indian
so the
girls
basics,
specifically.
let's just start with the basics.
Okay.
Loyalty, these should be given. This should not be this is a basic thing.
Have you been
Loyalty,
cheated on?
Trust. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't think so. Unless it happened, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, go on.
Loyalty, trust, respect. These are just the given. Both ways, men and women. I won't just say, I'm not saying this just for women. I think not just for men. I'm saying even women. These should be just like a given in a relationship. I think when I say respect, for me, I feel it comes with respect of a person, of how they are, accepting people for who they are. Don't try to change, evolve, grow together. We all want to grow. We all want to become, better versions of ourselves. but don't do it at the cost of making someone want to change who they are inherently. Then that's not really a relationship you should get into, because that we are who we are. Our best and worst, this is who we are. It's going to come out eventually. So these are, no matter how much you change a person, 6 months, but after, by the end of it, certain things are inherent to you that you have to know and accept those things, and nobody's perfect. No actress is perfect either, no actor is perfect either, no matter how great they look on screen and all that jazz. We're all normal, flawed beings, human beings. That's just how we are.
Can I be very honest with you about one thing?
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that.
Please do.
I think your flaws are relatively lesser than like the flaws I've seen in like other people. So it's cool that you're saying that.
Yeah,
But you're a very like, I don't know how to put it, and it sounds like I'm hitting on you, but I'm not. I'm just like breaking down your head. I feel like you're a very dateable person.
Yeah, I
In
think
terms of-
and I am. It's really funny, but I feel like for me now, if I'm in a like, that's one thing. If I'm in a relationship, it's very all or nothing. I can sometimes even, and I have at times made it a bigger priority than even like my work life at times. You know, I do, because I feel like maybe that's also because I've seen that growing up. I think my parents have been like, they're still very lovey-dovey. So now the benchmark is so high, the bar is raised so high that I have big shoes, not to be that, but I don't know if it's expectations. I also feel sometimes you should understand that it's not all, we will be disappointed. It's not like the expectations will always be met. But once you accept each other for who you are, both ways, I think it gets easier. I feel like those disappointments, you start, you know, the intent of a person's behavior, and that makes you less disappointed, you know, because everybody's like, two people can have different reactions. For example, you may want to say something and your inability to say it may come out in anger, but the reason you're angry is because you wanted to say something that you've not been able to say. Now, I may focus on the anger and feel like, why is he, you know, like, I can't stand this person, he's just always angry. But what is the intent behind that anger? And when you notice that, and when you know where things are coming from, when people are saying what they're saying, why they're saying it, then I think the disappointments also kind of reduce.
Yeah. A monk once told me that I asked him for feedback in the same way that you take professional feedback from everyone.
Yeah.
I try taking personal life feedback because it goes in my content. As in, again, content comes out of your person.
Yeah.
So he said that you're a judgmental person, and I said no, I'm not. I'm really not. Like that's something I fight against. In fact,
Yeah.
I don't judge people, etc. So he said, "What is the meaning of judgment for you?" So I said, when you look down upon someone or something, and I don't think I'm that person. So he said, no, judgment is even when you use someone's example as a compass for your own life. When you see something wrong and say, okay, I'll never be like that, even that's judgment. So I said, okay, then how do you remove that? Because that's a very normal human thing.
Yeah.
Like judgment is probably required for your growth. So he said, every time you're feeling that, replace judgment with curiosity.
Yeah.
And that's effectively what you said. That
Yeah.
try understanding the place people are coming
Absolutely.
from. Because when judgment becomes a part of a relationship, that's what actually
Yeah.
leads to like the downfall.
Absolutely. And I feel like if there's one thing I know about myself, is that I'm not a judgmental person. Like, I will not form an opinion. Like right now, I still don't have an opinion on you. I may not have that kind of a judgment on you. I will have an observation, but I won't have a judgment. Like I'd never, because
I also
I feel like-
observe, but
even as people, when you're not put in a box or when you're not judged, there's so much, like, how much can you know about a person with one meeting or with one observation?
I think I got to know a lot about you.
You do, but it's
Okay,
not
this is-
everything. You know
okay,
what I mean?
Fair.
And also, I won't say you're a judgmental person. I'll say you're observant. I will say you're curious. And I'll tell you why. Because if you were a judgmental person, I would have shut down right now. Because I don't end up, like, I can't grow in an environment if I feel the other person has that judgment, like a gaze of judgment on me. But you have a gaze of curiosity, which is exciting and interesting for me to kind of share whatever I'm sharing right now. So maybe
My honest input is I respect
That's
your
fine.
education a lot. Yeah. And I respect what your education has done to you and how I feel your education hasn't stopped. And you're using that as a weapon in your career, even for self-defense.
True.
The psychologist is very much on in you,
Yeah.
which is what I respect.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's something I want to imbibe in my own mind and head. So I'm getting like that exact person to like help
Right.
people. So that's where maybe what you're sensing from. Let's turn the tables.
Okay.
And ask Kiara Advani what she thinks men expect in relationships. Because There's all your Cosmo out there. There's all your internet articles out there which tell women, which talk about what women expect. There's there's very less content about what men want in relationships. And
It's so nice that you're bringing this up. I clearly don't know, so I want you to tell me what men expect in a relationship.
why don't you
tell
try
me?
first and then I'll help you out.
Okay.
Whatever you observed.
From my experience,
Yeah.
the same basics: loyalty, trust, understanding, respect. I think for me, these four have been, these have also been a given in whatever I've been in also. I don't know if there's, I don't know, you have to tell me.
Okay, so I feel when you want to understand someone's requirements or what they need, you need to understand what they're going through. Like, what's the negative of being a woman? What's the negative
Yeah.
of being a man?
Yeah.
American society is as sexist, if not
True.
more. And these are societies all over the world. Okay? Where as a girl, when you're growing up, you're just told certain things.
Yeah, we don't even realize sometimes when the behaviors, it's so like in our DNA. Forget about what we've seen growing up or any of that. It's somehow like come from our ancestors. We don't even realize it, and we feel these are the duties and roles we have to perform.
Exactly.
But I think today, say with conversations like we are having, and that there are being, people are also, in a way that's changing, but that's also shaking the expectation then that, say, a man and a woman have from each other.
Yeah.
Those lines are blurring, and to be okay with it is probably currently the biggest challenge.
I personally, the way I look at it, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Because I'm not a girl. So this
Yeah.
is just my masculine
Yeah.
perspective. I feel women, since they're kids, in some degree are disrespected. There is a sense of disrespect. Okay?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, but I just feel like it's not like I'm not only using the word term disrespect. I feel it's also a sense of
Comparison.
like suppression. Like I feel like they feel
Dominance and
there's a little
suppression.
inferiority thing that ends up happening.
I think that's what I'm terming
Comparison.
as
Yeah,
disrespect.
correct. That's what I'm saying. It's the
No, but
same
I-
term, but I just want to add these to show it's in this form.
I get it.
No?
Yeah, and this is something as a man I've learned
observe.
over the course of my career when I've
Yeah.
worked with women, when I've had female co-founders.
True.
Because co-founding is like husband-wife, sort
Yeah.
of. So you understand like very deeply. Anyway, my point is, through conversations like this also, I've got to learn this about women. As a guy, you don't even realize these. I had a sister older than me who's brought up very differently than me. Just
Really?
because of the society that, as in
Yeah.
great. She's had a great life as well. She was treated much more like a princess than I was. I mean, not that I want to be treated like a princess, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But despite going with a fantastically intelligent sister, I didn't understand certain realities of being a woman.
Yeah.
And at age 28, I've realized, oh, girls have to go through all this shit. Anyway, so my terminology is disrespect. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of girls, effectively, even a lot of the stuff you said about women's expectations in relationship, a lot of it is centered around respect. That respect me and respect
Correct.
my opinion. Take my
opinion.
Take my
Yeah.
opinion. And I do feel women have a strength of empathy and emotional awareness. So their opinion not just matters, it can really shape up a much
For
better
sure.
decision if you're a guy and looking for career advice.
For sure.
You see, so I had this whole phase in my life where I thought I'll never get married because I'm getting so much time to myself that I can utilize the time for my career. And I have this German friend of mine, Thaddeus. He's the German beer biceps.
Okay.
And he told me that you see any of the most powerful men in history, ask yourself how far you want to take your own career as a man. Do you want to make it to the history books? You'll have to have a stable partner and a wife in your life. Because if you want to go that far, that means you're going to have to do a lot of work. And if you have to do a lot of work, there has to be a base of recovery where you can come back and heal and then go out into the world.
Right.
Okay? And
But so I'm just going to cut you there. The reason this is what I feel, that when you think like that, it's great. But when you come back, when you want, like for a guy, if you want that woman who you're going to come back and who's going to, energize you to go back, that's only going to happen when that person is happy. And I'm not saying that you have to make that person happy. Yes, we talk about you should be happy to me, but that's going to come with a mutual respect, mutual understanding, and it works both ways, so that even this person can go out and live their dreams, come back, and together like friends, like it has to be a partnership.
Yeah.
Yes, love is the most important thing, but there has to be a
Companionship.
friendship, there has to be a partnership. It's not ki you go and come back and like you have, you should get married because you want a woman in your life or that. I can give you many examples of women who've been in very successful people's lives like that who are not happy. And we can be talking of Einstein and the likes who've had those, who've had those relationships that have not worked, and the women have not been happy in that. So to energize you to go back, you need that relationship to be solid.
You
That's
know
what
what?
I feel.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You spoke as a woman.
Yeah.
And you spoke using feminine terminology. I'll give you the masculine terminology on the
please
same
do.
thing. You understood the women's trauma, which is disrespect.
Yeah.
What is a man's trauma? Okay, a man's trauma is since the time you're a little kid, you're told
Right.
that your value is attached to how much money and fame you earn in the world.
Yeah.
And if you don't have one or both of those two, you're worth nothing. You're in fact like mocked as you're growing up about these things.
Prepping.
As a woman, you're mocked about, oh, you won't be able to do anything. As a guy, you're mocked about, oh, you won't be
I
able
agree
to
with you.
reach. So
And sometimes it feels harder. Like, I mean, in a man's shoes, like, I mean, I have a brother at home and he's at that age where he's just starting off his
And
life. So I do see,
we are free, girls.
him going through the challenging
Mentally
period of how I'm
free.
going to make it, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Because somehow, similarly, unfortunately, women have always been told it's not there are two things. One, ki, you're not going to be able to do anything, or you're good for only getting married or whatever. So the pressure of making your own life is not put on a woman the way it's put on a man.
yeah.
And it can be equally pressurizing on a man when, like, how a woman feels that, these things like what we're talking about. I totally understand when a man feels that that my value, like, you don't understand, but
Emotions
I
and
have to make it,
feelings.
otherwise I will have no standing in life. And I can't do this if I can't be like I feel sometimes men feel, I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel sometimes men feel like, and now this is my observation of you, that I can't have my personal life flourish till I've made my professional life, like
Yeah.
till I'm settled,
Yeah.
till sorry. And I think that again comes from those childhood expectations, or what we've been brought up with as a society or as whatever. But why can't we look at it as two people starting life and making life together? Like, it doesn't, today a man doesn't have to be the bread earner. It can be those roles can be equally divided. Two people can equally put food on that table in their home. It doesn't have to be one person. And yeah, you kind of, it's I'm going back into work.
No,
And this is
fine.
a completely different film also that I'm doing. But like my next film, Jug Jug Jio, is about these roles. It's about like, the roles of a husband and a wife, and how especially today's women and men want to have that equality without egos. The biggest problem in a relationship today is ego.
Yes.
Right?
Ghosting.
And not
that
forget,
type of
not
boys
only in a
and that type of
relationship,
girls too.
in a romantic sense, I'm saying even equations with, like, say, partners, co-actors, friendships, working relationships, environments. The biggest problem is when communication and ego comes in the way.
Yeah.
And that leads to that downfall. So this
Ego side mein karna
understanding,
chahiye.
like
If
where
you
you're seeing the way
want
it's coming
a better
from,
relationship or a success relationship,
that the reason someone's feeling a certain kind of pressure, to understand where that pressure is coming from, you want to be understanding of it, right?
You understand this as a emotionally aware girl.
Yeah.
Girls inherently are emotionally
Yeah.
aware. Guys are not.
Guys-
have two expectations. One is that, again, guys want a lot of direct input, like communication.
Yeah.
Because we are not able to communicate.
Correct.
So if, like, whatever your needs are, like, you need to tell the guy. And the second one is a place of like vulnerability and a place of recovery. Again,
Where you can be.
yeah. And the flip side is that guys look at kind of their relationships from a sense of petrol also.
Yeah.
So y'all, I feel successful relationships happen when both parties put time and energy into it.
True.
And for a guy, that's his form
Consistently.
of respect. And that's that's what
Communication.
basically.
No, that's great,
Understand.
girls. This was great. I think this is something that you put so nicely.
Did I answer your question?
You did.
About guys' requirements?
Yeah, you did.
Cool. I can go on forever. You do have
They're all
commitments
looking at us.
throughout the rest of the day. But I hope you
This
didn't
was
feel
so
like
lovely.
any of your energy got drained
Not at
on
all.
this one.
I got enlightened.
Have you ever done
If
Reiki?
anything, I've not done Reiki. I've meditated, but I've never done Reiki.
You meditate now?
Yeah, I tried to.
A part of, so I've done Reiki and it had changed my life.
मैंने
I
ये
don't
सुना
practice it
है.
now.
Okay.
When I'd done it, it had changed my life and it taught me the value of wishing well even in conversation. And that's actually helped me a lot in the podcast. And that's what I do throughout every important episode to me. I'm meditating throughout,
Yeah.
and I'm visualizing that, you know, a lot of healing and all goes
Yeah.
towards. And I do sense you need it a little bit.
Really? Thanks,
Little bit.
though. I think we all do now.
Yeah, for sure. But
for sure.
and
Are you giving me some Reiki?
I was just wishing you well,
Thanks.
which maybe that's what you felt as a lack of judgment or whatever, the opposite of a lack of judgment.
Thanks.
I felt the same from you just through your conversation in terms of you have a very good idea of my career. And as a media professional, you gave me things that will take off. So it was very empathetic of you.
It was such a nice emotional conversation.
The last thing I'll say is from every podcast, I gain something. And from this one, I think we're around the same age.
Yeah.
But women mature way faster at all ages. So I gained that, oh, okay, this lady who's like around the same age as me, but she's has so much more depth. So the emotional stuff I learned, that's what I gained from this conversation. Kiara.
You know, and I want to say something before we wrap this. And what I observed about you is that you say that your emotional side is not as probably evolved as a woman's emotional side, and you're more, you know, you've
He
cut
is
off and
so
you've been able to be
emotional.
emotionless as your work requires it. But I think you're very articulate with your emotional side and very aware of the you know, the needs and feelings and how you feel. Even though you say you don't, I feel you're aware of it and you know it.
कियारा आडवाणी ऑन रिलेशनशिप आई थिंक बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ सीखने को मिला एंड ये वीडियो बहुत इंफॉर्मेटिव था और पॉडकास्ट सुनना आजकल किसे नहीं पसंद है इट्स अ ट्रेंडिंग और जिन लोगों को लिसनिंग पसंद है और कुछ सीखना पसंद है जस्ट लाइक मी सो इफ़ यू वांट टू इवॉल्व इफ़ यू वांट टू लाइक कि यार कुछ सीखते हैं कुछ नया सीखते हैं कुछ नए सब्जेक्ट से सीखते हैं कुछ चार लोगों से मिलकर सीखते हैं देन पॉडकास्ट इज जस्ट फॉर यू स्टार्ट लिसनिंग पॉडकास्ट और मैंने इसीलिए ये वीडियो पे आज रिएक्शन वीडियो ही बनाया है क्योंकि मैं सुनती हूँ और मैं तो सोच रही थी एक चैनल भी ओपन कर अगर आपको पसंद आया हो ये मेरा न्यू कंटेंट सो प्लीज वीडियो को लाइक शेयर और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना फॉर मोर रिएक्शन वीडियो बाय